Yeah, dude, I kind of forgot. I need to pre-order Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
I forgot that
for sure,
pre-orders were open for
dude.
that.
Yes, that is October something.
Something like that,
Spidey
yeah.
comes out before that. So, yeah, Spidey's like September. Yeah, I'm just like holding off on games. I'm probably gonna get Mario Tennis and then probably just wait
yeah.
until September, and then it'll just be Spidey, Red Dead, and just gonna go hard out there.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad Tennis has a regular mode.
Oh
not
yeah,
just the
exactly.
crazy bullshit stuff.
Yeah. I'm so pumped for that game. I'm gonna play that shit out of it. It's gonna be great.
It's really good. I played the demo.
That's right.
It was
Yeah,
really
you did.
fun.
You did. That's awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Flick Your Bick Podcast Network. Here, I'm your host Ben. As ever is the case, along with Nick here. Say hello to the people.
Hello.
Nick. There you go. Wonderful. We are back in action today. We are going to be talking some E3, the
Video Game Christmas.
Yeah, it's Video Game Christmas. What's it stand for again? Electronic Expo. What's the third
Entertainment
one?
Expo.
Is it entertainment?
I think.
Entertainment.
I forget what the three is.
Expo.
Shit.
Electronic Entertainment Expo. That's it.
Yeah. There you go.
Boom. We know what we're talking about. Tell you that much. All right. Well, first off, you know how we have to start the show. We have to talk about what we've been flicking our bicks to. So I'll go first on this one.
All right.
So music-wise, I've listened to a lot of Sam Smith recently. I don't know what got me back onto him, but his new album is awesome. His voice is just so unique and impressive. He's got just these great songs. They're kind of poppy, but not too much because I'm not like a huge pop guy. He's kind of got a weird fusion of like pop with like more of like a classical bend to it. It's really great. Really like listening to him. But outside of that, my other thing has just been the World Cup. I've been watching in just about every game, trying to get up for those early ones. The time difference, the first game's usually at like 6 or 7 in the morning, which is a little steep for me normally, but I try my best. But I won't talk too much about that because we have a whole nother podcast on the network about that. If you'd like to hear more about that, hop on and listen to that. But I have a little story for you, Nick.
All right.
That's World Cup related that I think you might enjoy. So, as I'm sure you know already, dear listeners, Nick is of South Korean descent. And was interesting.
I'm liking where it's going so far.
Interesting news out of the South Korea national team training camp. Here's a little quote from their head coach here. His name is Shin Tae-young.
That's a dope name.
I'm pronouncing that right, but I think I am. Here's his quote. So they're little gamesmanship going on at the World Cup. So just for context, a lot of times other teams will try to sneak into like the training areas that the national teams train on before their games to like kind of get a little info about how they're gonna set up in the game, how they're practicing, that sort of thing. But because in a lot of these countries, there's not like great whole bunch of like high level training grounds for people with a bunch of security. A lot of them will have to train on like the equivalent of like a high school field, because it's Russia, so they're not exactly like overflowing with high tech football stuff. But so the coach for South Korea has a great way to get around this. This is his quote. He says, "We put 4 different numbers on all of our players' shirts in training to confuse the Swedish spies. Europeans can't tell our players apart just by their faces."
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I think is really smart and also probably true. I think they probably would have some trouble, I'm sure. I thought you would enjoy that. I laughed out loud when I saw that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess all of us Asians look the same, so I guess someone that wouldn't really wouldn't pay too much attention to what we look like.
Especially to the Swedish, that's who they're playing. And
oh, sure.
Yeah, the Swedish. I don't think they get a lot of Koreans up in Sweden, probably.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Sam Smith and the World Cup, especially World Cup shenanigans. That's what I've been. That's what I've been flicking it to this week. How about you, Nicholas?
I have been I've been listening to actually a lot of Dr. Horrible, going through that entire soundtrack.
Yes.
That's always a good time to listen to some Dr. Horrible sing-along blog music. Absolutely.
I've always wanted to do that at karaoke sometime. I don't know how many karaoke like people would have it, but if they did, we could totally crush it.
Especially for sure.
We throw Abby in there to hit the girl parts, we could destroy it.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, just been jamming through the entire soundtrack, like going up and
Yes.
down, driving to and from places, and it's been a good time, or shall I say, a horrible
A
time.
horrible
It has
time.
been listening to it.
When you
Pretty
sing
pretty
along,
horrible.
are you do you like the Captain Hammer parts or the Dr. Horrible parts better vocally?
Vocally, probably the hammer parts fits my range a little bit
Yeah, yeah,
better.
he's a little lower. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit lower. Uh, the Neil Patrick Harris parts are fine though. Most of them I can hit, and I'm actually have been gifted by the gods some pretty good falsetto range, so
It
I can
helps.
cheese
It
my
helps
way
a
through
lot.
the higher notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that soundtrack for many reasons. One, because it's hilarious, but two, yeah, the Doctor Horrible, his range in that show is like perfect for me. Like I don't have to. It's like right there. Like I can hit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all of it. Very maybe falsetto here and there, like a couple times, but overall I can hit all of it. So it's really fun to sing along. I get when I do long drives, I put on my musicals playlist on Spotify and go through and just sing my little heart out. You know, get a little vocal exercise while I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah.
For no purpose at all. You know, I do karaoke like once in a blue moon. That's about the only. It's just for me though, and I love it. Except when
Yeah.
my girlfriend's in the car, I don't think she likes it as quite as much as I do. But you know,
Aw.
I'm driving, so that's what you get.
Yeah, I think for the male singing parts for that show particularly, it's very like hammer singing parts. It's very just like straight baritone. Like if you're a baritone, you can hit
Yes,
those.
yes, yes.
For Doctor Horrible's parts, it's like straight tenor. So if you're a tenor,
Yeah,
you can hit all those notes.
yeah,
It's like
not too high a tenor though. He's more like a I'd say more
right.
like T2, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
where I was like a cross between B1 and T2, so it works out pretty well for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's
If
very
if it's
like
straight tenor,
right.
I can't hit that.
It's very like right in the sweet spot for frequencies for both those types of singers, which I think helps that show and just the music well. Like it's like you said, you can karaoke that very easily, and
Hmm.
if you're just like I sing low parts, you can sing hammer fine, or I sing high parts, you can sing horrible parts like perfectly.
Yeah, God, what a great show. If you
Hmm.
haven't watched that, go back. Dr. Horrible Sing Along blog. Some of the early works by one Joss Whedon, who went
Oh
on to do
yeah.
some pretty big things.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So go and watch that for sure. It's absolutely hilarious and great music, and a bit of a twist at the end as well, which you always love. All right, that's what we've been flicking it to there. So go and check that out at your leisure. So to the topic at hand today, we've got E3 that just finished up last week, and we've had some time to sit and think about what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
To start out with, Nick, I thought I was just curious if you had any favorite E3 memories, like from the past, like stuff that really
Ooh.
sticks out to you.
Ooh,
Like
that's a
top,
tough one.
I know, right? Just like some top holy shit moments from E3's
Um,
past for you.
maybe I don't know. Like, just off the top of my head, like, probably just like some new console releases. Like introducing the Wii was pretty big. PlayStation 4, watching that shit go down. Watching for the first time, like them actually making a Final Fantasy VII remake was pretty spectacular, and of course anything that dealt with Smash Brothers, I was lost my goddamn mind for that
Yes.
shit.
Yes, I noticed. Speaking of E3, Nick, would you like to tell everybody about what you've got going on your channel that probably relates to this a little bit?
Sure, sure. So I kind of watched all the press conferences, and then I kind of did like 6 minutes for like each press conference, like just skirting what my overall thoughts about things that I found particularly interesting. The Nintendo one, I decided to change it up and make just a straight reaction video to that. And if you don't like having your ears explode with volume, then you should probably not watch that because I lose my goddamn mind.
Yes, it is quite entertaining. I quite enjoyed that. Yeah, for me, yeah, similar. I specifically remember the PS4 versus Xbox One release. That E3 was awesome because, as you'll see here in a bit, I'm a bit of a Sony fanboy. So when Sony kind of came out and wiped the floor with Microsoft during that E3, I was very happy. That made me very, very happy. And then it's just, standard just releases that are like your favorite game, that are like from your
Right.
favorite developers, or like for instance, like when we first saw Last of Us, when Uncharted 4 we first saw that.
Mm-hmm.
But one off the beaten path a little bit that I always remember because everyone got so hyped up for it and it looked so cool, and then everyone was so let down. I didn't even end up playing it. Was No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
remember
that
how like just freaked out everyone was for that game
well,
when
yeah,
that came
that
out, and it
really
was like kind of
shitty
whack.
guy. I don't remember his name, but every interview that you see him on around that time, even on like Jimmy Fallon, he has the same like shit-eating grin on
He's
his
like, this
face the
game's gonna
entire
like
time when he's like,
reinvent gaming. Yeah,
yeah, when people are asking him like, so you can do this, you can do that, and he's just like, yep, and it just pisses me off now looking back on that.
because a lot of it was not true. Yeah, I never played that. My friend Mark, who you might know from our World Cup pod, he got it and was pretty disappointed.
Oh, I got it
As,
too.
as were
It
most
was a
people.
shitstorm.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. I kind of a pre-warning for everyone. E3, the whole idea of the trailers and the conferences is to just make everything look as hype as possible. I always, make sure to have my expectations tempered a bit, especially when you don't see any actual gameplay. That's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
like a red flag. But luckily this year we had a whole bunch of actual gameplay demos
I'd even
on the main stage,
go.
which I like. 'Cause it
I'd
makes you, okay, this
even
is like
yeah,
roughly
yeah,
what the
yeah,
game
yeah.
is. You're not like pulling my chain here. Like this is roughly what's going on in the game. So I really appreciate that, and it lets you get an actual clear look into what's going on there. So
I believe
yeah,
I've watched pretty much every E3 since I want to say 2007, 8 around there. Like I've watched every single one. 2018's E3 I think is probably like the best E3 that I've ever seen.
wow, just from the number of announcements or just the
Just
quality of game shown.
like I'm looking at like all these conferences, like all
Yeah,
the ones that are up there,
yeah,
except probably EA this year, but literally pretty much
yeah.
everyone else just had a rock solid
Had some
banging
bangers. Yeah, each one just
press
had
conference.
even for me, with a lot of them are stuff that I have never played or really have no interest in playing. Each conference had at least something that I was like, "Oh crap, I probably have to get that." Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, that's huge for sure. Well, with that, let's hop in. So I'm just gonna go through each conference and talk about the stuff that I found interesting, and then Nick can throw in
Mhm. Mhm.
what he likes as well. So for Bethesda, actually, kind of a just for me personally, kind of a weak Bethesda conference, just because I'm not a big Fallout guy.
Sure.
I only played like some of 3, and then I never got 4. Though Fallout 76 does seem like a cool idea with it being online and everything. And
Yeah,
people love Fallout, so they're gonna be all about it. But I probably just won't get that just because I'm not. I'm way more Elder Scrolls guy than a Fallout guy personally. But what do
yeah,
you think about that?
I'm a little skeptical about 76. It looks cool and everything. I like the implications and things that they talk about for it, but honestly, I kind of don't seeing it lasting too long. Only if for the hardest of Fallout fans, which I like Fallout, but there's other things that I probably want to spend my time on. I'll
Yeah, as you'll
probably
see
get it
down the
just
road here, there's a lot of really
yeah,
good games
yeah,
coming out.
yeah. I'll probably get it just to check it out for a bit and then never play it again. In all honesty.
Yeah, yeah, those online games where you have to keep playing and playing. I just can't stick with those for too long, just because one, I don't have the time to do it enough to remain competitive, and two, I just like to have a variance of things that I play.
They need to be really good. Like coming from a very big for me personally an MMO RPG background. You need to have a lot of shit for your content, which
Hmm.
MMORPGs do. Online like console games, they usually don't have too much
Yeah,
stuff in them.
they can get pretty weak pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um, other than that, for me, Wolfenstein always looks good. I've just never played it. I'd like to hop in at some point because I feel like it'd be up my alley.
Yeah,
Kind of alternate
killing
history
Nazis.
sort of thing, killing Nazis, um, as Brad Pitt would say in Inglourious Bastards. So I thought I should try that out. I've never been a Doom guy either, even though the new one looked really good. I'd
Oh, the
like
new
to
one
play it at
was
some point. Is it
fucking
awesome?
sick.
Yeah, I want to play that at some point. It's cool they're getting a sequel to that. But obviously the big announcement was Elder Scrolls 6, though it was barely an announcement. I mean, we all knew that they were making an Elder Scrolls 6. It
Yeah.
wasn't a big surprise, but they just showed you like this like landscape and then the title card, and that was it. So I bet we don't see that game till 2020 at the earliest.
Yeah, it's pretty far in the future.
Yeah.
They also had uh again, pretty much the same length and a less amount of stuff for their Elder Scrolls 6, but they had Starfield, which is the game I guess they're working on
Yes.
after Elder Scrolls 6. That looks kind of interesting. Just Elders or just Bethesda team in space. Pretty cool idea.
And that's new IP, right?
Yes, it's a brand. I
Yeah.
believe they said it's their first new IP in like 20 years.
That's awesome. I'm always down for new IP. Always a good
Absolutely.
idea. Always a good idea. Well, that's all I had for Bethesda, Nick. Anything
Well,
else you want to pop in?
yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on the Elder Scrolls Blades game, the phone app game.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm not a big phone gamer in general. Just because if I'm out and on my phone, I'm usually looking at Reddit or answering emails or something. So I have plenty of things to do on my phone already. I like the idea of some Skyrim on my phone. I don't know how big I'll get into it. Also, the phone games to me are just kind of outdated because I have a Switch. So I
Right,
just
right.
bring that if I know I want to play games like on a plane or on a road trip or something. I'm bringing my Switch, and that's not, and I can just play actual Skyrim on
Right,
the
right.
Switch. So I don't mind the idea of. I know the mobile gaming uh, genre, I guess, is obviously super popular. There's plenty of people that play games on their phones. I'm just not particularly one of them. But I don't mind the idea of it. What do you think?
Oh, I think it looks weird and kind of shitty. I'll download it and try and look around, but I think seeing what a bunch of these types of games have done in the past, just this is kind of judging it kind of negatively at first glance, which is always something bad. But this is just what I'm gonna do. I'll still try it out, but I think it's gonna launch. It's gonna be kind of cool, and then quickly get really old and shitty. Then there's not gonna be too much development for it, and then I don't know, like a year later, they're gonna like start bringing out a lot of content, and it's gonna get popular again.
Yeah, that's how the mobile game space kind of goes in general.
Hmm.
So next one we had EA, which would be really quick for me because there's only two games that I was super stoked about. I mean, they showed FIFA. I love FIFA as a big soccer
Yeah,
fan, but like,
absolutely.
I don't have to like look at it like it's gonna be FIFA. Like, I don't know, like cool. I always I get the sports games when they're on sale later because I just don't feel like spending
I need
$60 on them every year because I can't do it.
I need to show you this video that I saw. It was like I think it's saw like FIFA is gay, and it has like the weird FIFA engine, whatever it's running on, and like a bunch of bugs. Like the players
Oh
are just like
yes,
they're like
they'll
colliding
like
with each
oh
other.
yeah, they'll like
There's like
scissor.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're like
it's
scissoring and stuff.
yes. No, that's very much the case. Yeah, yeah, we can have a whole other podcast about annual releases and what that does and all of that. But the two for me, one game that actually showed a pretty big demo for that looks pretty great is Anthem. It's a big kind of multiplayer online game, but they say it's going to have like a really interesting single player and that you can play it as a single player game as well, which is important to me. Because as much as I like playing with friends and everything, I also sometimes I just want to like put on my headphones and just play a game without
Hmm.
talking
Hmm.
to anybody. And usually when they say that with these MMO like on console games, like oh, there's a story, it's usually like kind of shitty, like see Destiny and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's made by Bioware, which is a great developer that's known for really great stories, talking Dragon Age and Mass Effect and all that. So I have some hope for the story. But
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, overall, I'm excited about it. I'll probably wait a bit and see if my other friends get it first, and if they do, I will get that game as well. But I'm relatively excited about that. What
Yeah,
about you on
Anthem.
Anthem?
Yeah, I'll be honest, it doesn't look that interesting to me personally. The only reason why I even think about it in the slightest is because everyone is talking about it, and besides that fact, I wouldn't really even consider it something noteworthy for me personally from the conference. So, other than people saying that they want to try it, I have no interest in it.
Yeah, kind of looks like I like the idea of being able to basically play as Iron Man, but also I
Yeah, yeah,
think it's Bioware. It's a great developer, so I'll at least give them a chance. That's kind
sure,
of
absolutely.
how I think about it.
And then we got the new Star Wars game, which I believe, yeah, they didn't have any gameplay footage or even like a logo for that, which was pretty disappointing. But I don't know. Star Wars games for me are pretty hit or miss. Honestly, mostly miss. But you have I think they did confirm like a. I might be confusing this with the movie, but I think they did confirm a Boba Fett game. Now that I say it out loud, I think that's wrong. But uh, either way, Star Wars games are kind of hit or miss for me. I can't really say too much about it until I actually see what it's about.
Right. Yeah. The developer is Respawn, who made Titanfall, which I was a decent series of games with a lot of like cool, fast-paced action. So on the surface, I'm interested, but yeah, the as we learned with Battlefront recently, those are hit and miss with the Star Wars games, particularly the game that got canceled with Amy Hennig, who was the creator of Uncharted. I was very, very excited about that, and seeing that that got canceled kind of lowers my level of hope for Star Wars games. So we'll see what happens. I'll say cautiously optimistic on that one, but we'll see. Next up, we had Ubisoft. So I had one big one for me was the Division 2. I don't know how much Division you played, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The end game was kind of lame. It kind of ran out of stuff to do, but the game itself, I really enjoyed. I like the Tom Clancy kind of storytelling style, and this one makes me really excited because one, they claim at least that they've really developed a lot for the end game, which is good. I really liked the raids and like the dark area or whatever it was called in the first one. But it's in DC, which is a city that I know fairly well, so it'll be really exciting to like already know the map because I know that city pretty well, so that'll be fun. But yeah, are you a Division guy at all?
Ubisoft had a bunch of shooters in their press conference, which I don't dislike shooters, but personally my taste cater to something that is not a shooter, so not really looking forward to Division 2. I'm happy for all the Tom Clancy's Division fans and all those other stuff, so it looks nice and everything, but personally I'm not interested in it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not a big first person shooter guy generally. I like more of the third person style, which is why I like
Oh, for
this.
sure,
And
for
the
sure.
loot and stuff is cool. But yeah, well, I think it just helps because I had a group of like six other people that were playing that game and we played it together, and that always makes it super fun.
That helps a lot.
Yes, very much so. We also had the newest addition to the Assassin's Creed pantheon. There was Odyssey, so it's in Greece. There, if you couldn't tell by the name. I used to be a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Like I loved all the from 1 up to I think probably was it 3 that was American Revolution, I think. Yeah, I played
Yes.
those religiously and loved them just because I'm a big history nerd, and being able to like walk around like in a historic setting is really cool. But the formula just got super tiring for me after that. I don't think I played another
It
one for
got really
free.
weird.
Yeah, and the timeline stuff in like the real world timeline was so convoluted, it made absolutely no sense, which
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's weird that this Assassin's Creed Odyssey game is supposed to take place before the game called Assassin's Creed Origin. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah,
And watching the trailer, you didn't see any like white cloaked assassin people or any of the Templars. It's just straight Romans, which is cool, but I just don't know how they're gonna reconnect it back to the
yeah, I
franchise
don't know,
in
man.
general. I
Yeah,
would guess that since it is Greek and that's kind of where modern philosophy kind of originate, that's probably where they're gonna connect. Is just the philosophy of the assassins and the Templars. That's
yeah.
what I'm assuming they're gonna go with.
Yeah, that would make sense. I picked up Origins like for $10 because it was on sale, and because people had said, "Oh, it's different." Like they took a year off and they like changed a bunch of stuff, and they did. Like the fighting system was different. The setting was really cool. The game was pretty, but the story I didn't care at all. And it was all right. I played it for like probably a good 10 hours or so, and went around and did some fun side stuff. You know, killed some alligators and some hippos and whatnot. But it was fine. I'm in no unless there's like crazy reviews about how great this game is. That's probably a pass for me.
Mm.
Um, and the only other one from the Ubisoft that really jumped at me was Skull and Bones, which like looked like some sort of piratey adventure game, which
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
which looked interesting. Pirates are cool, but
Hell
again,
yeah.
that's a wait and see for reviews and stuff and word of mouth before I hop on that. But that's about all I had for Ubisoft. Anything else for you, Nick?
Yes, I actually had a huge one. Starlink. Do you remember that game?
Oh yeah, that's like the okay, yeah, I know where you're going with this. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, it's like a. I don't really know too much about it. Just a space fighting game. You get pilot ships and do other kind of wacky, crazy stuff. They have a tie-in with Star Fox. which is freaking incredible. And it's the mechanic of this game is very much like Skylanders, where you have these little creatures, and then they would interact with the game like physical, like statues, like the Nintendo Amiibo. But they're the actual ships that you pilot, which is really cool. If you look at pictures of like it attaching to a PlayStation 4 controller, it looks like really weird. Like the ship covers like the entire controller.
Yeah,
it looks
if I was
really
a kid,
funny.
like I would be all over this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But they're tying it with Star Fox, which is fucking amazing. If you haven't seen the trailer for the Star Fox crossover for Starlink, go watch it if you're a Star Fox fan because you'll get giddy with excitement. But they with their Skylanders application stuff, you get to buy a freaking R-Wing and attach it to your PlayStation 4 controller. Actually, the Star Fox thing is for the Switch only, but still, I will buy that game just so I can have a miniature R-Wing.
Just piecing out next to your
hell
next to your
yeah.
controller. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe it'll actually be the first good Star Fox game, and forever will actually not be a Star Fox game.
Yeah, one can only hope.
Right.
One can really only
Right,
hope.
exactly. And then finally for the developer conferences, we had Square Enix. There's some big things on here that I'll let you handle just because they're not really my areas of expertise.
Sure.
I'll jump in on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I've really liked the Tomb Raider reboots. The first one, played the hell out of the first one. It was great. The second one, I think I finished, but I wasn't as into it. I'll wait and see on this one. They're good games. It was just to me that I'm like, I don't know, I would almost just replay Uncharted again instead of playing this just because they're better. But yeah, I'm somewhat interested in that. And the other one is this Project Octopath Traveler on the Switch.
Right.
I played the demo of that, and
Ooh.
correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like it's almost copying like an old school Final Fantasy vibe.
Yeah.
Right?
They're going
And,
for old school stuff.
And I played the demo of it, and it was really interesting. I'll probably get that at some point. So
Yeah, I missed the demo for that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think they have one going on right now, actually. The second one.
Shit.
So keep an eye on for that. But
Yeah.
outside of that, I'll let you cover Kingdom Hearts. I'll just give you my Kingdom Hearts history. I think I played 1 and 2 like with Garrett at Garrett's house. Because I don't know, I never had it personally, and that's like it for me on Kingdom Hearts. I never really got into it outside of that, and to be honest, I don't remember a lot of those games. That was a long time ago. But I'll let you cover the rest of that because I know that's more your forte.
Sure. Well, it's weird for Kingdom Hearts because the previous conferences, because we're going slightly out of order from when they appeared on the schedule, they had like a trailer at every single conference basically for a Kingdom Hearts
I know,
trailer,
right?
and then for it was weird. Like the Microsoft was like day one of the big conference stuff, and they play the Kingdom Hearts trailer at the Microsoft conference. Fucking weird. But the one at Square Enix showed more stuff, so that was really nice. They had like a Ratatouille world and some other weird stuff like Frozen World, so that's pretty neat. There was the Dragon Quest XI, which I'm not a big Dragon Quest fan, but I know that's a very, very like that's a cultural phenomenon in Japan, so that's pretty huge for them and all the other Dragon Quest fans. Babylon Fall was also a interesting trailer. They didn't really show much, but what's interesting is made by the company Platinum Games, which they are responsible for making the Bayonetta games, which if you haven't played those are a raucously good time, very fun game. So I'm really interested to see where they're gonna go for this. What else? There was also they had the Final Fantasy 14 and Monster Hunter crossover, which FF14 is the MMO. And I really like that. It's probably my favorite MMO. But yeah, and I also really like Monster Hunter. So having a crazy crossover for that is really cool. You get to kill one of the famous Monster Hunter monsters in Final Fantasy 14, and for the new Monster Hunter World game, which I know you haven't played, but that is a fantastic game. Which they're continually adding more monsters and adding content to the game. So for them, for the Monster Hunter World game, you get to fight the Final Fantasy enemy, the Behemoth, which is like a crazy like demon uh tiger thing, and you get to go hunt that, and you're probably gonna get some cool gear. Like you're probably gonna look like Cloud, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that was just a crazy announcement crossover that nobody was expecting, and it was just really interesting to see. And probably the last thing that I had for the Square Enix conference, it was actually a no-show, which Square Enix has been working on a supposed Avengers game, and they did
Oh
not
my
show
god, yes, don't forget
that.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What the hell?
yeah, very, very weird. I think this E3 was really good, but there was a lot of things, obvious things that people were expecting that were not there, which is very, very
Yeah,
odd. But yeah,
namely
no
that and
Avengers.
Rocksteady, their next game.
Right,
I
right.
was
Yeah, they
really
weren't
looking
there
forward to
either.
that too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, overall, I would still say best E3, hands down, par for none for me personally. But there were still a lot of like things that people were expecting that were not there. It was weird.
Yeah, I would agree. I totally forgot about those. Yeah, that was very strange.
Hmm.
Coming up here, let's get into some first party stuff here. We'll start with Microsoft. Nick, you want to kick us off with what you saw from Microsoft?
Sure, absolutely. For Microsoft, they started off with new Halo game. I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not a numerical one, but we'll see where they go with it. It looks like it's gonna be like an open world Halo, which actually sounds really fucking bomb. I have a friend that really likes Halo, so he's super jazzed about that, which I'm all more happy for him. Microsoft being like the first major press conference of E3, they might have won E3 maybe just overall, because they had some amazing, amazing reveals. Devil May Cry 5, people have been wanting that, and it looks really good too. There's also Dying Light, which I played a little bit of the first one. I'm not that interested in, but whatever. And they announced 3 Gears of War games within the span of 1 minute, which is to me is fucking insane. Like the weird like pop figure Gears game, the weird like XCOM Tactics mobile Gears game, and then just straight up Gears 5. That was a lot of Gears content in such a short amount of time. Cyberpunk, I know, has been also
Yes.
super highly anticipated.
Yes.
It looks great. I'm so
Oh,
excited
man.
to see what they're gonna do with that.
Yes. Yes.
Couple of
That was,
the
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
God,
yeah, yeah.
So excited.
Couple of the other things in the Microsoft one, which kind of cater more to my area, they had a Sekiro, which was made by the same people that make the Dark Souls games, which it's not, they're like having their own samurai Japan version of that, so that looked pretty cool. They also showed off the new Ori game. I think it's called Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which I didn't play the first one, but I know they're really, really good and they look really, really pretty. What else was there? They didn't show anything, just a logo, but a new Battletoads games. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was
dude.
super down for that. Very down
sure.
for that. They had the weird anime arena fighting game called Jump Force with all the like Shonen Jump anime characters in, so that was kind of interesting. Actually, being Microsoft being the first one to have a press conference this year, announcing the Tales of Vesperia definitive edition. I lost my shit when they announced that, because for people within that community, that Vesperia is definitely one of the best games out of that franchise, and they had like a definitive edition, but it was only available in Japan, which I personally bought that and then imported it and played the shit out of that, all in Japanese. I had like to read a translator as I was playing it, but now it came into English, so that's incredible. People didn't think that was going to happen. In fact, I believe on Twitter, Bandai Namco even said, yeah, we're never going to bring Vesperia over to the West, but they fucking did, and I was super happy. Definitely did not see that coming, so I was super happy about that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for me, the big one, Cyberpunk 2077. I love CD Projekt Red. I'm a huge Witcher fan.
Oh, they did make
and they're just an
Witcher.
amazing
Damn.
developer. Like Witcher was like next level as far as graphics and scale and everything when that came out. And yeah, this is going to be insane. So the video they showed wasn't an actual demo, but I listened to some interviews with some people that actually got to play the game behind closed doors, and they just absolutely raved about it. So, they some interesting things they said there was they talked about all the customization you can have and everything, which is awesome. But how The Witcher was known for just being such a vast world. This one is just as vast, but instead of the width, it's almost more vertical.
Okay.
So you're like going up, like climbing these like buildings and stuff. And you also have like this cool like Back to the Future kind of a car that you drive around in. It's just, oh man. And they said the vibe of it is so cool. Like all the colors, the like hot pink, the neon, all that. It's it looks amazing. Don't know much about the story yet or anything, which I'm okay with. They know how to tell a great story. The Witcher games are wonderful in that regard. So yeah, I don't know when this game's coming out. I think it's going to be
probably
2019, maybe 2020. I don't know, but it's up there for me on the hype meter for sure.
I'll say earliest, it's probably like holiday season 2019. That's my guess.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. So yeah, that's all we had for Microsoft.
One quick thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I gotta ask. Are you gonna get Soul Calibur 6 because Geralt is in that?
Maybe. I'm not a big fighting guy, but I would think about it just for him because he's an amazing character.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
And he would kick all of the ass because he's an incredible swordsman. So yeah, maybe. So here we go on to maybe my favorite conference. I don't know. Tied between this one and the next one for me probably, but this is the Sony conference. Kicked off with a little game called The Last of Us Part 2, which did not disappoint. I loved the trailer. Was amazing. They had this cutscene that was wonderful. Gave a lot of insight into some new characters along with our protagonist.
There was an Asian man there,
too. There was an Asian man.
I was super happy about that.
He was a handsome Asian man. He was doing
yes, he was.
He was doing good stuff out there. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Based on kind of how the trailer develops, I don't know how well it went for him and everybody else.
Yeah.
We'll see. But things didn't look too good. And then the actual gameplay part of it was just Last of Us 1, but on crazy violent steroids is basically how
my god, yeah. Like they're ripping into like a guy's stomach, like ripping out his intestines.
The one for me was the tomahawk to the face. That one guy. That was just... And then the explosive arrow, I like yelled with excitement when I saw that. That was so cool.
Yeah, this game has a very, very emphasis on violence. Like, I think I recall seeing that people were complaining the last game that there were only like male humans that were getting killed. I think, and this one
they killed some ladies. In this one.
it was pretty graphic. You see, Ellie just like shoot women like point blank in the face, and you see like the bullet go through their head out the back of their skull, and it was graphic.
Yeah. What I love about it though is it's not like gratuitous, like cartoony violence, because I'm usually not a huge fan of that. But it's like realistic, like it's a post-apocalyptic world, and these people are trying to survive, and it's just like so realistic that it's almost uncomfortable in certain cases. But the story, I just can't wait to see where they take it. Still haven't seen Joel yet. He was kind of in the first one, but there were some thoughts about like, is he really there? Is she imagining him? We don't know. But just Ellie looks amazing in this grown up form. She has that sweet tattoo on her arm, and and just the anger in her face. Like Neil Druckmann, the director of the game, said this game is about pain and anger, and I'm like, yeah, clearly, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense already. But oh god, I'm so excited. Last of Us is up there on my favorite games of all time. I mean, clearly I named my dog after one of the characters in that game, so I'm a fan. Shocker. So we'll see. That didn't have a release date, did it?
Yeah,
it just said 2019. I think right?
It did.
It just said 2019.
Off the top of my head. Yeah,
which is fine with me. Hey, take your time.
Absolutely.
That's my thing. Actually, I like about Sony. They don't put release dates until they are like absolutely sure, like this is where it's going to be, and I'm okay with that. Like, take your time.
When a developer says we're pushing back the date, that's a good thing. It sucks that you don't get to play sooner, but that gives them more time to just make the game better.
Polish the hell out of it. I totally agree. So yeah, Last of Us, as it was no surprise to anyone, it was amazing. Up next, I had a new game which I had heard about. I knew it was coming, but I think this is the first we've seen a whole lot of. I think there was like a short trailer, maybe at a PSX before, but this is a Ghost of Tsushima, which is some sort of it's like samurai game. I am not super up on my like eras of samurai culture, but it's during a Mongol invasion. And this game's made by Sucker Punch, which is famous for the Infamous game series, which I really liked. Infamous 1 and 2, they were great games. I'm very curious to see how this goes. The trailer in this was just absolutely gorgeous, man.
Oh my god.
The music and just the environmental effects and everything, it was just unbelievable. And
they are really pushing the hardware for the PlayStation 4, which at this point is like 5 years old. Like, we're getting to the end of the PlayStation 4 lifespan, but yeah, they pushed the envelope with Ghost of Tsushima. It looks goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks unbelievable. I'm curious about the gameplay a little bit. I saw there was like some kind of sneaky Arkham, like Batman Arkham kind of stealth stuff. It looked cool.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way.
And then like the actual fighting, I couldn't tell if it was just like a basic counter system or how it worked. It looked cool. I wasn't like blown away with like, oh, this game looks super fun to play, but we'll see. Again, it was kind of it was gameplay, but it was also kind of cinematic, so it's kind of hard to tell where things were sitting there. But overall, count me in as very intrigued and probably purchasing for that one.
Yeah, day one purchase for me, absolutely.
Yeah, it looked unbelievable. Next up, I had Death Stranding, which is Kojima's first title here. Now that he's partnered with PlayStation. I've like kind of dabbled with some Metal Gear games, but I was never a Metal Gear guy. They always looked really good and had interesting things, but this game just looks next level crazy. But I'm interested in it. Like it looks really cool. Like I have a mix of like a sci-fi, but also kind of grounded, gritty realism. There's some weird stuff with this guy can come back to life through like a baby that he carries around, and that hot girl from James Bond movie is eating bugs. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but it looks gorgeous, and I'm intrigued. I know you're more of a Metal Gear guy than I. What do you think of Kojima's next venture here?
Yeah, this is gonna be really interesting because now that Kojima is doing this through his own company, he really has full reign and full control over everything. Say what you will about him and all the controversies around him and all of his Metal Gear work in the past, just seeing this man go full throttle on a cinematic game, I am like, sign me up 100%. I just want to see what comes out of this man's head, because
awesome.
It looks exciting. It looks amazing.
Next level crazy.
I'm looking forward to playing Norman Fetus, the game.
Yeah, Norman Fetus. That's a great joke. I can't remember the girl's name, the blonde girl. She's from Bond movie. She's really attractive.
They have like an A-list movie actors in this game.
And Mads Mikkelsen apparently is in it as well, which we didn't see, but he's always great. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, count me as intrigued. I'll maybe, if it gets good reviews and everything, I'll probably hop in. It looked really interesting. Along those same lines, there's a game called Control that they showed, which looks kind of like a, I don't know, almost like an Inception, but like kind of on steroids, and it just looks really interesting, the gameplay and everything. They didn't show too much about the story. The developer, it's this small developer, I can't think of the name of them right now, but they've done other kind of like weird trippy games.
Right, it's like
this looked really interesting. It piqued my interest, so we'll see what that comes out of. And then I'll let you handle this next one, because I have again dabbled in some of these games, but I've never played them all the way through. But I know a lot of people, including yourself, are very excited about this one. So
oh my god, people have been wanting the Resident Evil 2 remake for a long time. I am so excited to play this. It looks like they're going back to straight up horror, because their recent titles have been more actiony. But no, this game looks like straight up horror Resident Evil, like harkening back to its original PlayStation 1 and N64 days. I am super jazzed up. It looks gritty and scary, and a lot of emphasis on survival and stuff. The main character is like he's a noob. Like, I don't think you know too much about too many of the characters.
Kind of. I knew Leon's
Evil.
Like a cop, and he like doesn't quite know what's going on. Let me ask you a question though. So, but 2 is like the big Resident. That's like the unanimous like best Resident Evil game, right? Like that's what everyone. Maybe not unanimous, but it's well liked. Obviously, they're remaking it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's It's kind of a toss up. I think probably unanimously 4 is probably, which is weird because 4 is kind of the black sheep out of all the other Resident Evils. However, Resident Evil 4 is kind of the game that kind of started the over the shoulder shooter genre, which is really interesting. That game also stars Leon, but at that time he's like a mega badass. He's like drop kicking zombies and like suplexing zombies and their heads explode, which is really fucking cool. So this Resident Evil 2, this is the game starts and it's Leon's first day on the job as a police officer. First day, and he's like going into like a zombie apocalypse. So he's like he's a noob. He has no fucking clue what to do. He just sucks in the game pretty much. So it's gonna be really interesting to see where how their Capcom's gonna show Resident Evil 2 Leon as a noob, going all the way to eventually leading up to badass suplexing zombies Leon Kennedy. So super jazzed for this game.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then, do you have anything else in Sony before we hit this final one?
Sure, I had a couple things.
Yeah, go for it.
Neo 2, another Capcom game, was
that's right.
pretty surprising. I didn't play the first one, but not expecting them to make a sequel so soon. Let's see. They had another Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, which this trailer had the third Pirates movie. That's one of the worlds that Kingdom Hearts is going, and the graphics for like how the actual characters look. Like the trailer showed like Jack Sparrow riding the ship like in the desert. If you remember that movie and that scene, and it showed all the characters like from the Pirates movies was like just watching the ship, and they looked like really clean. They look really amazing. Two other things I put down. Not really. I have a PlayStation VR, but I don't really use it that much. But there were two games that looked interesting: Tetris Effect, which looks like a weird like rhythm game, and just looks really pretty.
That looks sick.
Yeah, and Beat Saber, which is another rhythm game, but you have lightsabers, I guess.
I did see that one. That did look cool.
Yeah. So yeah, VR still, I don't think it's like a that great of an avenue currently, but it's just a fun little thing to look at.
Yeah, it's coming. That's the future. Just gotta let everything catch up technology wise and developers and everything. But yeah, I've dabbled with PSVR. It was cool. I wasn't like super moved to go and get one, but it was fun to mess around with for sure.
Right.
All right, and then Sony closed it out with a little game called Spider-Man, which, again, if you've listened to this podcast at all, you know how this might have made me feel. Very tingly in my nether regions is the answer to that question. Oh my gosh, we had seen some gameplay and some trailers before, but this was on just a whole nother level. Oh my gosh, man, this game is like everything I've ever wanted in a Spider-Man game and like a video game in general. Just the way that the free roaming with the swinging looks, it just looks so fast flowing and natural.
It's like PlayStation 2 Spider-Man 2 like free roaming. That shit was the best.
Yes, that game was amazing, and this looks like that on steroids, but also has this level of almost Batman Arkham style fighting. But different because it's Spidey. He has all these different gadgets and stuff. I like in the game that he's been Spidey for, I think they said like 7 or 8 years, so he's like a pro Spidey. So he's got all these like cool gadgets and stuff. Like he's he's not like noob Spider-Man like in Homecoming, which is great. But this, for a video game, I want to be able to like do all the crazy cool stuff. Action. Yeah, exactly. So that was exciting. A bunch of villain reveals that look great. A big kind of cliffhanger in there as well. Looked like I am so in for this. I cannot wait. This game, I don't see how it isn't going to be amazing.
I really like how they're treating QTEs, because originally when they showed Spider-Man at last E3, they showed a little bit of the gameplay for it. The QTE, I thought like there was a lot in that trailer, so I was thinking, oh, is this just going to be Spider-Man just always QTEing? But seeing this new trailer, I really like how they did it. Like the QTE, when that goes off, you can kind of see like around Spider-Man's head, like a little like Spidey senses tingling, kind of like line drawn around his head. So the QTE is his spider sense, which is genius.
Which makes so much sense.
Is.
Yeah, it really makes it. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's just like the way I listened to some people that played the full demo, and they said think Arkham Batman mixed with Uncharted level of like cinematics and
Right,
everything, and
right.
I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
I also heard that like from people play that they said that it has really really good controls, like it's really tight and stuff. So that's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, yes. So yeah, oh god, I can't wait for that.
So I
Um,
gotta ask you a question real
yeah,
quick. I'm
hit me.
pretty sure Spider-Man's voice is Yuri Lowenthal, which if you don't know that voice actor, he's pretty damn famous. So I think would you? I got a couple questions actually, or just two, I should say. First off, from your memory, what do you think of the this new Spider-Man's voice in the
He sounded
game?
good. He sounded older, which apparently is the Peter Parker that we're getting. So
Okay.
I liked it. Yeah, I was very happy with it. There's been so many people voicing Spidey that I can go along with most of it, honestly. Like I liked Drake Bell in that cartoon. I thought he was
Yeah.
good. And then I don't know if you saw the trailer for the Spider Verse like cartoon movie that's
I
coming
saw
out.
the first one. I haven't seen the newest
Did you
one.
see who's voicing Spider Man in that?
Is I I want to say Neil Patrick Harris because I'm pretty sure he's
No,
voiced Spidey
he
before.
has before, but this one it's Jake Johnson from New Girl.
What? Real? Okay, so
Yes.
I did hear that like Jake Johnson's name was attached to
Yeah.
the Spider Verse
Yeah.
show. I
Yeah.
didn't know he was
Yeah, dude.
Spider
It's
Man.
like an old it's so interesting. It's like an old he's kind of like an old jaded Spider-Man and and
Damn.
through the whatever, I don't know how they're going to make it so that there's all the different Spider-Mans are there, but through that he like kind of mentors like a young Miles. And yeah,
Oh,
it just oh god, it just looks so good. When I first heard that, I was like, I don't know if if I want Jake Johnson to be my Spider-Man, but
yeah,
the way that
huh?
they're setting it up with him kind of being older and jaded, it just oh man, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait for that movie. But yeah, no, this guy, from what I've seen so far, sounded great. I'm totally into it.
Dig it. I dig it. So yeah, who would you say is your favorite voice of Spider Man?
Oh man, oh that's tough. Uh,
There's a lot of
Man, I know
incarnations of that.
recency bias is just I love Tom Holland. He's amazing. He's so
All right,
good.
I'm down for
He's so
that. I'm
good, and
down for
I
that.
think I just gotta go with him, man. Like he's for that young, inexperienced Spidey. He's amazing. He fits it so well. And yeah, I'm just gonna go with Tom Holland, man. He's incredible.
I dig it.
Can't go wrong with that one. All right. Well, next up, last but certainly not least, we've got the Nintendo conference. Which of these here on the rundown do you want to start off with, Nick? Actually, how about this? I'll ask you some questions about these Pokemon games because
Mm,
I like mainline Pokemon games. I never played any past generation 3 just cuz I kind of didn't have the console for it and just kind of fell out of it.
yeah.
Um and looking at these, they look interesting. I just I don't know. I might just wait until the full new line
New Switch Pokemon
full
game comes
RPG
out.
Switch Pokemon game. Yeah, I might just wait for that. So I don't know. What have you seen? What have you seen with these? Because I don't know how to feel about it.
So I'd like to reiterate that while this E3 was good, there was a lot of things missing from it. Nintendo had a lot of things missing in it, missing from their conference. Granted, most of it was Smash Bros, which personally I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I know a lot
not
of
a
people
problem there.
were not okay with that, which I kind of understand. So that's why personally I gotta say Nintendo wasn't the best press conference if I'm thinking like critically and realistically, just because half of it was Smash. I liked it, but they didn't show off a lot of things per se. Now the Let's Go Pokemon games are kind of they have some controversy around them. So we're going back to Gen 1. Everyone likes Gen 1 pretty much. So weird things about this game, you either start with Pikachu, you either start with Eevee. You can't evolve them at all. Pikachu, I understand why you don't want to evolve into a Raichu because Pikachu is the poster child for Pokemon. So I totally get that. Eevee, however, you cannot evolve into like any of the 7 evolutions of Eevee, which is kind of weird. Personally, I really like Eevee, so I'm okay with that. But they're like Eevee and all the evolutions. Uh, People love Eevee and all the Pokemon that Eevee can evolve in. So a lot of people do not like that. Another weird thing about this game is there are no random encounter Pokemon. Well, there is, but you don't battle them. You all you do is you see like them on the map physically, which is already different. You run into them and then you immediately just throw a Pokeball and you just catch it. it's really weird and
Yeah,
different.
it's very Pokemon Go-y, which
Yeah, which it does tie into Pokemon Go, which I stopped playing Pokemon Go a long time ago, but
yeah,
it's pretty
same,
cool that
same.
they're having tie-ins with it. So I think that's a nice touch.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna just wait until the big one. But I'll be curious to see what other people think about it. Up next we had the Super Mario Party, which looks pretty
Woo!
dope to me, man. I
Yeah.
love me some Mario Party games. What was the last one I played?
God, I
I played a lot of the GameCube one growing up. I didn't
yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
GameCube, so I don't know whose house I was at, but I just have weird memories of playing a lot of that on
Now they
GameCube.
didn't
But
say it, but they didn't announce it, but damn, could you imagine if this Super Mario Party was online? Like holy
no, they
fucking
did.
shit.
No, they did. That's confirmed. I saw it the other day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Damn.
man. Yeah. So it's badass. I can't wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about time, and they're fixing Mario Party because the newer recent ones are being weird. Like everyone was in a car and you moved on the board together, which a lot of people didn't
Odd.
like.
Yeah, no, this looked awesome, man. It looked like some really interesting mini games, and I liked the local co-op play where you can like put the Switch screens together and it like creates a like a larger playing field. That looked badass.
I think I heard that is kind of a different mode from it. Like there's
Yeah, I'm
the
sure.
straight up Mario Party game you could play, and then I think there's another Mario Party
There's
games
like a
that you could
certain
play
there's like
that
only a
involves
couple
two
that you play
switches.
that way.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
still,
yeah.
in general, I thought it was awesome.
Yep.
I'm excited about that one. Quickly, I'll go over a couple quick ones. Fortnite's on Switch now. Yay! I've dabbled with Fortnite and I even played it on Switch a little bit. It's fine. I honestly I don't understand why everyone loves this game so much. Like it's cool.
Yeah, I never
Like
played it.
I like have a good time. I'll play a couple matches here, but I don't get the I don't get all the excitement for it, man. I feel like an old man. I'm behind on the times, but I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, you and me both.
I don't get it, man.
I think the most reason why Fortnite's so popular is because a lot of people like shooter games and whatnot, but I think the main reason is that it's the battle royale mechanic, which is just like 100 people, last man standing kind of thing that has a large appeal. Another thing that I really think why Fortnite and like PUBG is so popular is because you can go into these battle royale modes, and if you get to like 67th place and die, you can just leave and join another game, and it's
Yeah,
just that quick. You have to sit around.
that's pretty slick. And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
and also they're free at least to start. So it's a really
Right.
easy entry point as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's cool.
I
Cool. It's on
have-
Switch. I want more things on the Switch. I love my Switch.
Yeah, true, true.
Keep the Switch hot and popping. You know, that's cool. That's all good with me. Another
Yeah.
one, Overcooked 2. I don't know if you played Overcooked at all.
Oh my god, I love
That game's
Overcooked.
amazing. It's so fun. I love that game. So more Overcooked is great for me. The other one that I want to talk about was the Killer Queen coming to
Right,
console,
right.
which is so freaking cool. So if you don't know about Killer Queen, it's this arcade game that is insanely popular. It's like arcade is in physical arcade game. It's only in arcades, and there's not that many of them around. Like, I think the nearest one to us was Kansas City, the one that we went
Yeah.
to. And the game's hard to explain. I'm not gonna do it here, but this super popular arcade game that like people like will drive like hours to go play. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, it's similar. It's similar to like the old arcade game Joust, if you've ever played that
yeah,
game.
but also you like fly and it's like a 4v4
Yeah.
type thing.
Like,
And it's
kinda
coming
like-
to, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Balloon Hunt, which you might have played, like old school Balloon.
Yeah, kind of a
Balloon
mix
Hunt.
between those, and it's coming to Switch, which is so
Mhm,
cool
mhm.
because it makes sense because it's a local co-op game mainly. I think they said you can play online too, but
Probably.
the idea that you can kind of continue the like I guess you know the history of the game of it being a co-op a local game that's super doable on the Switch with the Joy-Cons and everything. So yeah,
Oh, for sure.
I'm really excited about that because I
Yeah.
only played it once and it was super fun, but I was like playing with a
Yeah, I
group of
dig
guys
it.
that like were like pros at it, and I totally messed up and I felt bad, so I didn't play again. But I'm really excited about it. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Nick, tell us about Fire Emblem. I've never been a Fire Emblem guy, though this one looked cool. I might try it out. I like real time strategy games and stuff. I've just never jumped into the Fire Emblem. What did you think of that?
So first off, Fire Emblem is a turn-based strategy. Real-time
what's
strategy is like
real-time?
League of Legends. Hey, no worries,
Oh
no
yeah,
worries.
no, you're right. You're right. I knew that. God damn.
So
nerd
this
card
new
provoked.
this no worries. This Fire Emblem game looks really interesting. I don't want to get too into it because then I'm gonna start going off. Because Fire Emblem's probably maybe my favorite franchise. Maybe it's pretty tough to say. But yeah, they have a whole lot of new mechanics in this game. It looks like your individual units in your army are actually like they're like lieutenants and captains in the army, which
yeah, that looks
and
sweet.
they like actually control like a squad and they control units themselves. So that looked really cool. Interesting, different squad mechanics and stuff. Not too much is known about this game, but I it looks ambitious and pretty different from the traditional Fire Emblem games that have been going so far. So I'm really curious to know what's going to come of it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else you want to hit before we talk about the big Smash Bros. Blowout?
Let me check my personal notes. I no, that's pretty
There's
much
pretty
it.
big ones for
Again,
me. Yeah.
Nintendo didn't have too much in terms of like what people were expecting. Like, I know a lot of people wanted like an F-Zero game. They didn't mention the Metroid Prime 4 at all.
Yeah,
They
that's
didn't
such a long
talk
ways away,
about
though. I wasn't surprised about that.
they didn't say anything about the Animal Crossing Switch because
Oh, God
that's
damn
going
it.
to happen. So I'm surprised that they didn't have that. What
Yeah.
I'm most surprised that they did not show is they didn't talk about any of the Switch's online system, like their
Yeah,
special
they kind of had a
thing
big
about
thing,
that.
like a direct beforehand, I think, to get that all out of the way instead of talking about that at E3. So yeah, I think
They
it releases
they
in
had
October,
some
right?
points about that, but
Yeah.
I was just very surprised they didn't elaborate more on it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works. Because most of the Switch games I play aren't gonna be online.
Right.
But if it's a good, you know,
I think it's
system and it
subscription
works
based
well, yeah, it
too.
is subscription based.
Yeah.
But if it's kind of like almost the Xbox model or the PS Plus model where your subscription gets you some games, which I think is what they said will
Yeah,
be
that'd
the
be great.
case,
That'd be great.
then I'd probably hop in. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That'll be interesting. That'll be a really important thing for the console too.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it can become a
Uh,
viable online system as well, that can only help. So
Plus, you have the virtual consoles. You can backwards
yes,
compatible
God,
with
that
like
needs to
all
that needs
those
to get going,
libraries
man.
of
I want
games.
all my old
Yeah,
games on my
yeah.
Switch. God, I want
Yeah,
I want all
absolutely.
my old Zeldas. Like, let's make it happen, baby. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, to wrap up both the Nintendo and the show here a little bit, we got like 15 minutes of Smash Brothers coverage, which was
Yeah.
awesome, man. Which I was cool with. I guess I'm sure some people, if they aren't as big Smash people, I guess they would be mad about that. But yeah, every single fighter ever in one game. Didn't see
Mhm.
that coming. But I'm
Hey,
very excited about it.
people were joking about that, and it was a funny joke. And then Daddy Sakurai fucking did
He
it.
said, "Well, hold my beer, boys. Let's do this." Yeah, it was amazing. I really liked all the detail that they went into about how even some of the old characters, things have changed. Like
Right.
like the Link, which is really important to me, is Breath of the Wild style, and some of his moves are different. There's a bunch of characters that have different move sets. The whole idea where you do like, I mean, you're way more technical in this game than me, so maybe I should let you cover this. But the different gameplay mechanics where you can like dodge in the
Oh my
air,
God.
and there's like
Yeah.
a counter thing. I don't know. Go through that for people because I'm
So the main thing that people are freaking out about the new mechanics for this new Smash Bros. Ultimate is what you said previously, the ability to dash vertical, like in a direction, air dash, which that's super crazy because that means that there's a possibility. I can't remember. I think you can do these things, but they're not as good. But basically, doing these directional air dashes means that you can potentially do wave dashing and wave landing, which that's a very difficult and technical thing to do that you could do in Smash Bros. Melee, which is the biggest and most highly paid esports fighting games.
yeah
Period. So that's really interesting. It definitely looks like they're like kind of trying to cater to everyone, like the casual people, but trying to also make this super esports competitive. Trying
Yeah.
to bring in some of the melee mechanics into this game, which I am all for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Trying to strike that balance, I think, is really important.
Hmm
I'm also curious with my favorite thing about Smash is all just the little small, like loving touches that they put in the game as far as like the different stages and like the trophies and stuff. and the soundtracks from all the games. It's just always so polished, which
Yeah,
I love. So I'm
absolutely.
really curious to see a lot of the new character designs and the polishing in that. It's gonna be awesome. But finally, we had a new fighter release, which was Ridley from Metroid, which looks really cool. He looked real scary in the when they showed him in actual gameplay. We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah,
that goes.
big thing about Ridley is the argument for Ridley being in Smash Bros. Is Ridley is too damn big to be a fighter. Like the actual size of Ridley is if you put like Samus next to actual size Ridley, like Ridley's like I think like stacked on top of each other. Like I think Ridley's 3 or 4 Samuses stacked on top. That's how big Ridley is. So that was the main reason why, like, people were saying Ridley's not going to be a character. Ridley's just too damn big to be a fighter. But it looks like they just sized Ridley down to just Bowser Donkey Kong size, which makes sense, and I'm very happy.
All right. So also along with the Smash Bros, I almost feel selfish for thinking this, but because we have every fighter ever. But anyone new that you'd want to see coming up, you think so? I'm sure there's going to be plenty of DLC for this game with the new characters.
Yeah.
Who do you see coming?
Well, before this game came out or announced, when they had the Smash ballot where you can send in your vote, my vote was King K. Rool, which is the main villain from Donkey Kong. Which I'd be pretty happy if they did that. But seeing this roster and just thinking a little bit more about it, he'd be kind of an odd pick for it. Mostly, I think I want him because I like the character and I like Donkey Kong quite a bit. And I think a representation for him would be cool on another big character. But I think there's probably room for some more interesting people. I honestly, I was really sad when I saw this when he was the assist trophy, but I really want Waluigi in the game.
Dude, I know. I never understood. I feel like that'd be an easy one. You know, like he's in all the other like mainline Mario games and Mario Kart and everything. So
yeah,
I don't know.
He's definitely the Mario character that is only in the spin-off games, but I think that the Waluigi fan base is pretty weird. It's pretty divided. There are a lot of people that just really just hate Waluigi, and
He's
there
hilarious.
is yeah, he's awesome. And then they have the community of Waluigi cult following that really want him in the game. I really think that this would like be a great segue for him to be in to make a straight up Waluigi game because Wario has a couple just Wario games. And I think just having a straight Waluigi game would be really interesting, mostly because that you can have like a Nintendo game around this kind of weird anti-hero guy. You could go like in so many weird directions with that game.
Yeah,
that stars Waluigi. So far I've heard that even though characters are assist trophies, that there's a possibility that they might take people out as assist trophies. Pretty low chance, but now with a freaking Cloud from Final Fantasy and every Smash characters ever.
God, right?
Just anything could happen. Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah, to me, I think the interesting one is Nintendo's been partnering a lot, like we saw before, with Ubisoft. So I think maybe we could get some Rabbids. I could see that, and then any other.
Yeah,
I'm not super up on what else is in the Ubisoft. Is Rayman in there? Yeah, Rayman would be. I could totally see that as they've been partnering already. That makes a lot of sense. I could see that.
Another big one is Banjo-Kazooie. I'd be very okay with those guys in there.
There you go. That'd be awesome. So yeah, that's kind of all of our thoughts here on all the E3 releases, demos, and all that jazz. To wrap it up here, Nick, give me your top 3 things you saw. Top 3 games that you're excited about. Yep. Give me 3.
That's a tough one. There's a lot of good stuff.
Dude, it's hard.
I kind of don't want to go with the like the obvious picks like Smash Bros and that kind of
stuff. Stuff that's a little more off the beaten path because obviously, I mean, Last of Us, Spidey, Smash Bros, like
okay,
but yes,
all right,
kind of do something the newer stuff that we heard about maybe.
Yeah, sure. I'll say without going with like the main franchise stuff, I don't know. Would you count Resident Evil as main? Because that's a pretty popular game.
Yeah, but it's a new. The fact that it's a remake, it's something people have been freaking out for a long time. That counts. Go for it.
Sure. Okay. I'll go. Resident Evil is definitely my game of the entire conference.
Nice.
For me personally, for sure.
Nice.
Let's see what else. I think I'd have to go. Yeah. I think I'd have to go with Devil May Cry 5,
There you go.
and honestly, I think maybe Mario Party.
Hell yeah, dude. Why not? Mario Party's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I totally dig that. Man, for me, even though we didn't see an actual trailer or gameplay, everyone else was talking about it, but I'm going Cyberpunk 2077 is mine for sure. I'm so excited for that game. Second, I think I'm gonna go Killer Queen for Switch. Like that is really cool. I'm really excited about that. And then number 2, I was gonna go Division, but like we knew that was coming. That wasn't anything too new or out there. So I'm gonna go Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely up there. I was gonna say that looking over the list, I just remembered I'd probably have to go Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, and the Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition.
Right. Yeah, so I was overall, again, like you said, I think it was a great conference. We saw more about stuff we already knew that was coming out, and we got some new stuff, which is always a good balance. I hate when it's just like, oh, they show a little like title card. Like last year with Nintendo, it was like Metroid 4. No date.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It's like, okay, cool.
They're working on it.
Yeah, we knew that.
It's gonna happen.
Like, we knew that. I wasn't like, oh my God, they did Metroid? Like, yeah, of course they were with the new Switch. Like, I wasn't surprised by that at all. So yeah, we got a nice mix with everything here this year, which I think is really interesting.
I'm just very sad that I didn't get a bingo, because I made a bingo card for E3.
I know, that was a cool idea. I was really happy with that. All right, well, that has been another Flick Your Bick podcast here with Ben and Nick, going over some of our E3 thoughts. Again, thank you for listening. If you want to spread this around, talk back to us, that'd be awesome, either on Twitter or YouTube. Nick, anything else before we depart?
I believe that we should be getting the iTunes and Spotify.
Yes. I'm gonna be working on that as well. We're gonna get that going. To help people out there, because I know that's where I like to listen to my podcast. So I, gotta help people out.
Yeah, we'll upload all the episodes that we currently have from YouTube onto all those channels.
It'll be a big
have to worry about that.
It'll be awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, until then, guys, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.